Hello and welcome back to Art Break. I'm Danielle Robson and I run Soda Arts, a curatorial consultancy based in Sydney. And I'd just like to start by acknowledging that I'm making this call on the lands of the Gadigal and Wongal peoples of the Eora Nation, and to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So I had every intention of bringing Art Break back earlier in the year, but then a couple of things happened and all of a sudden here we are and it's October. But look, today is a special Art Break. I'm being joined by Alex Wisser, who is the creative director and co-founder of Cementa Festival in Kandos. So just bear with me while I bring Alex up. There we go. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. I'm really good.
Okay, well look, before we jump into asking you a bunch of questions, I thought I would do a very brief introduction to you so that people know who you are, which can feel a little bit like a This Is Your Life reading, but I'll keep it brief. Okay, so you're an artist, you're a curator and an all-round make stuff happen person would be my impression. I think I read you described yourself as an arts hall, which was great. But you co-founded Cementa Festival in 2013. For those that don't know Cementa Festival, it's a biennial festival of contemporary art in the town of Kandos in regional New South Wales. And Cementa really quickly established itself as at the forefront of arts-led community renewal in Australia. And Cementa 2021 was all set to go until COVID got in the way. So the festival's now been postponed to next May, and in its place we have the Spirit of 21, which you can tell us a little bit about in a minute. The other thing that's a really great part of this program that I'm hoping you can talk a bit about is the conference that you're running with Asia Link Arts, which again, it's this beautiful marriage between these fantastic triennales and arts festivals that happen in regional Japan that achieve and aim for the same things that Cementa does. So we can hear a little bit more about that. So that's it. That was all I was going to say. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thank you.
So why don't you start off by telling us where you are today?
I'm actually in the artist residency at Way Out Art Space. So we have our very own art space here. It's we're leasing the building now, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview. We're about to announce a fundraiser. We've been offered a chance to buy it. And so we might actually buy this building. It's incredibly exciting. We have a residency out the back, an apartment that we put all the artists up. Part of the ethos of Cementa is we invite the artists to come up and do a residency here to make work that relates to the town or to the area. And this is where is where they live when they're doing that work.
That's incredible. Well, you have to make sure you tell how can anyone support you in purchasing this work? Is there a fundraiser plan?
Yeah. We'll be launching the fundraiser at the Spirit of 21. It's going to be the Australian Cultural Fund is the platform we'll be using. We're just waiting for approvals before it goes live, so it's not quite live yet. But in a day or two, we'll put links across our social media, and we'll make sure you know how to contribute if that's what you want to do. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So can you tell us a little bit about Spirit of 21?
So so the Cementa Festival itself, the 4-day in-person festival, was postponed due to COVID. And everybody seemed to be doing it, so we went ahead and thought, oh, we'll jump online and we'll do something online. I was thinking it'd just be good to get the community together, just hang out and we'll have a few drinks and we'll try to relax and we'll play a bit and we'll have some art and we'll look basically what we do at Cementa. Cementa is a very social festival. It's a place where people in the arts can come up for 4 days and hang out with each other. And it's relaxed and it's, I thought at least we could do a little something, a gesture to that. And just bring the community together. So, we get to hang out and see a few of the same things. And I had no idea what I was getting into. I have none whatsoever.
The best ideas start that way.
Yeah. So yeah, and so it's actually been like, it's been scary because we don't know what we're doing, and we're trying stuff out, and I'm working with artists who have never done anything online before, and we've never done anything really like this online before, and it's a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And I've got an amazing team of people putting stuff together and helping and supporting, and an amazing group of artists who are just sort of stretching themselves to see what's possible. And we're just going to jump online and we're going to have a go, and if it falls apart, well, that's the go. That's going to be the bride. And I'm fully prepared to have just so long as we have a good time with it, that's what it's going to be. And but that said, given some of the previews that we've had already, I think we're on track to deliver something pretty amazing either way.
And so exactly when does it start? What's the timing of the festival or the non-festival?
Yeah, it starts at 11:45 on Friday the 15th with a welcome to country from Peter Swain, he's a traditional custodian of this land. He delivers a welcome to country from on top of the mountain that overlooks Candos. It's very beautiful. So 15 minutes before we jump into the symposium with AsiaLink and launch the festival proper.
Yep. And so if people want to watch or participate, do they need to register online, or how do they get involved?
So there are a number of events that you do have to register. Everything's free, but there are some things with limited capacity. So you can go to our website, cementa.com.au, and just scroll through the program, anything you like. Book in, and I would do it now. I know Diego Beneto's backyard foraging adventure is booked out already. I think we might be expanding that. So if you didn't get in and you want to go back, and it hasn't been set up, but tomorrow we should have a few more places. Otherwise, everything is going to be streamed. It's going to be streamed on Facebook Live on the Cementa webpage. It's going to be streamed on our cementa.com.au. I believe we're going to have a YouTube and even a Twitch if there's anyone in the audience that does that.
I don't actually even know what Twitch is, but that's okay. Yeah. And so maybe thinking more broadly about Cementa as a festival, what was your original idea? What was your original vision for Cementa?
Well, it's an interesting question because the festival, the idea for the festival came up when myself and my partner Georgina Pollard had come to Candos on an artist residency that was hosted by Anne Finnegan, she's an arts writer and an academic and a figure within the Sydney art community, and she'd come up and had to do some work on the thing, and we'd had dinner together, and we talked about the fact that the cement works had closed down just the year prior. And then somewhere in that conversation, somebody, had drunk a glass of wine too much and thought, yeah, wow, wouldn't it make a great place for an art festival? And that was the moment, like that was the idea, right? The idea had no more depth to it than that. And it struck us as being a pretty good idea, just simply because we could, the idea that you could bring up all of our arts community to one place to have a 4-day festival that celebrates the culture that we practice, that's very attractive to us. But that initial idea has, it changed, because we suddenly, the next day we had to think about the town, and we had to think about, well, why would Candos want to have us here, what, how could we invite the local community to the festival, so that we're not just, basically using their town as a venue for our party. How do we make this, how do we make this an exchange? And so it was that second, idea, and the sort of dialogue that goes on between those ideas that have actually shaped, the development of the festival it's actually been a dynamic that's ongoing. It doesn't stop. You don't solve it, and suddenly everyone's at peace and accepting. It's there's always a tension there, but that tension is actually, I think, a part of what makes Cementa really, really exciting and interesting. Is that it's not a foregone conclusion. And that you actually are able to kind of make inroads into places that hadn't been done before.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually there's some interesting parallels, as we said, between what you've done in Candos and what's been going on with Japan. And of course, in many places all over the world and, and other places around Australia. But the alignment, I think, between what you're doing with AsiaLink, the way that AsiaLink and Cementa have come together for this conference, and you've got Fran Kitagawa is one of the keynotes, who is, the man when it comes to these sorts of regionally based arts-led renewal. And and I think, a lot of what spurred those projects was a social issue similar to Cementa, that there was aging and depopulation happening in the regional centres, so how can they renew it? And then I think they started in 2000, and over the course of 20 years they've built up what they have. And so, what do you think about this model of culture-led renewal? And I suppose that leads into what do you think Cementa's brought to Candos as a kind of festival in terms of all those other non-arts based issues?
It's a good question. So basically, to return to that origin story, we were faced with needing to make a case for support with the community, and that was one of the I think it was really the key kind of value that was convincing to the community, was that they saw we could bring economic activity into a town that had lost its defining industry and needed something else. So we had a lot of the community leaders came and supported our efforts to do it, to get done. So but and I guess the motivation there was exactly that. It was very practical. How do we make this festival work, and how do we make this festival and establish it on a foundation that is ethically grounded, so that we are in a healthy relationship with our community, and that's how that's basically my introduction to the idea of art being employed to affect a social outcome, and so the interesting thing for me, out of that. Out of that conversion, is that I began to think about this a lot more, and it began to change the way that I think art can make meaning. Like, art makes a certain kind of meaning within the art world. It makes a different kind of meaning within Candos. It's a different context, and there are different values in circulation. It's actually capable of doing different things. Like, I don't think I'm gonna rejuvenate the MCA with my artwork. That's never gonna, and it would never come in. Nobody would consider that. If I don't know, maybe one day I'll put a proposal in, but but basically making that proposal here brought a whole lot of people to the table that normally wouldn't consider supporting contemporary art, and then you're hearing their opinions, and you're understanding their way of thinking about the world a bit better, and then the art that you're making begins to change, because that art is now in dialogue with them, and I think so. I think that's really the most fascinating thing about it. What's actually quite surprising is I just gave a proposal to council, and we calculated up all of the money that we sort of generated over the 8 years, and it's been around $3 million worth of economic activity, which for a broke artist like me, I was like, oh God, when we started, I was, half of me was going, maybe we're putting it on. I don't know, I had no idea whether we were actually going to do what we said we did, and and we probably didn't. We didn't save the world or save the town or any of the sort of grander kind of more idealistic sort of ideas that circulated in the at that starting point. But that I think that we can claim pretty firmly we've been able to deliver some pretty substantial benefit.
Absolutely. And so I guess that leads into another question I was going to ask you about what you're most proud of about Samenta.
Oh, what am I most proud of about Samenta? Well, the Candos School of Cultural Adaptation. Sorry, guys, I had to plug it, which is a socially engaged artist cooperative that I'm involved in, that came out of the first festival, and then I think the third festival, and then has been involved in doing all sorts of amazing work. It's just been an amazing journey that we've been on with that one. So that one is a highlight for me. You know, the other thing that I guess I'm most proud about is, well, you know, I guess the thing that I'm more proud about than what art might have brought to Candos is what Candos might have brought to art. You know, that it's for me at least, it's changed the way that art works for me and functions in the world. And it's shown me there's actually quite a lot of possibility, and that art changes. Like, it does change. It's not always been in a white wall gallery, and it doesn't need to always be in a white wall gallery either. And I'm not digging the white wall gallery. I know, you know, there's beautiful work that goes into that, and I've spent many hours enjoying it, but you know, there are these other possibilities that I'm finding very exciting and meaningful, and you know, this is where I pursue them.
Yeah. And look, that's actually almost our 15 minutes, but our final question is, which you've sort of answered, but in that, you know, to wrap it all up, why do you think art matters?
Yeah, so, you know, I guess it is that sort of, for me, you know, like a question like, why does art matter, right? It's a very universal question. It's like, what's the one answer? and actually art matters. It matters, you know, where it's at. You know, like it actually is capable of having all sorts of different meanings and values, and contributing benefit to people, you know, in very different ways. And so really, you know, like, art matters in Candos. And so why does art matter in Candos? Is because, you know, it's challenging the way we look at the world. And I mean the artists, the way artists look at the world, as much as we might challenge the people of Candos to look at the world differently. I'm actually more interested in changing the way that I look, and understanding it better. And Candos teaches me that. And so does art.
That was a great answer. Thank you. Well, that was it. It goes so quickly. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you very much.
And so, yeah, just to recap, if anyone wants to get involved with Spirit of 21, they go to samenta.com.au and they can register. And if you want to stay in touch with me or Soda, you can see links on the profile, or you can go to the website, and then all the past art breaks are on there. Thank you again. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.